Alright, we're going to be doing an Ironstrike tier list for skills. Now, this is for no more run specifically. We are not counting endless mode because endless mode is like an entirely different game, honestly. It's so much different. So these are going to be a skill tier list for specifically normal runs, the game mode you play, and also no difficulty sliders because I mean, honestly, it barely makes a difference, but we're not doing that. It's just an overall ranking. Let's just go straight to it. I don't like to stall. Also, we have our little bongo cat right here. He will help out with the tier list. We're gonna put him right there. Alright, we're gonna start off with quick hit. Quick hit is one of the most useful skills in the entire melee thing. If you want to just beat up enemies without waiting, quick hit is just free damage. It's also very good for one-shot builds because it does similar damage to deliberate strike, but it's faster, and it also makes the entire server glaze you if you one-shot everything with quick hit. So we're gonna put that in S tier. Next up, we have deliberate strike. It's the same thing as quick hit, but backwards. Instead of extra damage on the first 2 seconds, it's on the last 4 seconds. By last, I mean like forever after 4 seconds. The damage you get is bigger, so if you want to deal the highest damage possible, then this deliberate strike is better than quick hit. But overall, it takes way too long to get the damage boost, so we're gonna have to put it in B tier because of that. First impressions, you deal extra damage for the first 2 to 4 hits that you deal, and that damage boost is actually crazy. Getting first impressions enhanced, oh my god, that is overpowered. 100% at level 1 is crazy. Now in endless mode, this is a completely different thing. It would instantly be F tier because it only works for the first 4 hits. But in normal runs, it's S tier and better than quick hit by far. Berserk is a weird skill. Not many people even understand what it does. For each enemy that you hit in succession, you get a massive damage boost. I think it's 50% per enemy, and it stacks at 3 enemies. So you get 150 at level 1. Enhance, I'm pretty sure it's 100% per enemy, which is 300%. That's an insane amount of damage. The only problem with this is that it is very hard to use, but using it with bounce around would make it do insane damage. We're gonna put it in A tier because it doesn't really, it's a little too hard to use for me to like actually put it any higher. Next up, we have armor piercing. Armor piercing is incredibly mid. Like, it's incredibly mid, but at the same time, it's also very useful. At max level, especially in Enhance, it's like 150 extra damage on armored enemies, which is basically every single enemy that's actually threatening, aside from like healers, but those die super quickly. Every other enemy that has armor is annoying, and having armor piercing makes it really easy to kill them. Rage, it's basically Rage Strike without the rage part. We're gonna put it like B tier. Counter-Strike. For every block that you deal, increase your damage by a little bit. At max level, every block just gives you 100 damage per hit. Honestly, it's just not worth it most of the time unless you're trying to deal incredibly high damage. But the thing about this skill is that it gives you less damage every time you upgrade it. Because like, you can only, it was per block deal more damage, but at max level, it only works on 1 block, so you deal less damage for maxing it out. On top of that, it just takes too long to block enemies, which is funny. I know it sounds stupid, but the best strategy is kind of just kill them before they even attack you in the first place. So I think I feel like there is potential, so I'm gonna just put it in C tier. Combo. For every Ironstrike you hit in a 2-second window, it gives you 25% damage, and it stacks up to 12 times. This thing is busted. It's basically Berserk, but on the same enemy instead of different enemies. 18. What was it? It's 25 times 18. Or I would do 12. So yeah, it gives you the same stat buff as Berserk Enhanced, as long as you attack fast enough. So we're gonna have to put it in S tier. The only thing it's like low S tier though, because it doesn't work on one-shot builds. Or, except for like a few, I guess. Okay, finally we have Rage Strike. I genuinely think Rage Strike is right there. First impressions, just barely beats it. Rage Strike is genuinely one of the best skills in this entire game. It is so powerful. What Rage Strike does, for every Iron Strike you hit, it increases your... It gives you 15 rage at base level, and then you can let go of that rage whenever you want. So you can stack it up to 12,000, 25,000, and then it deal an insane amount of damage. The highest I've ever done is 25.7 thousand, which is absurd. Alright, that's all the might skills. Let's do all the tactics. That's Soul Reaper. Alright. Starting off with Charge. Charge increases your dash distance and gives you focus whenever you reach a enemy in melee range. So that is broken because at max level is 120. That's already an extra set of Iron Strikes on top of the starting ones you get. So for example, let's say you have a weapon with 3 Iron Strikes. If you have Charge level 3, you can get 6 instead of 3. And then if you have an enhance, it's a 180, so you can get almost 9 sets of Iron Strikes in total. So we're gonna have to put that in S tier, probably here. Actually, no. I think Charge is probably the best skill for melee, because every single time you use melee, you want Charge. It's just so powerful. Except for like a few times, maybe like honestly, I can't think of a time. Like Power Leap, same thing as Charge. Charge is get in melee range and deal and get more focus. While Power Leap is jump towards them and get more focus. The focus you get on Power Leap is way stronger than Charge. I think it's 200 or something. So it's already 200 is 3 sets of Iron Strikes instantly. So you get a weapon with 3 Iron Strikes with Power Leap 3. That's 9 Iron Strikes, and it also stacks with Charge, so you can go insane amounts of Iron Strikes. Which I already did that for one build with the sickles. It's kind of busted. And the jump is really annoying to move with. While a dash is always useful, whenever you need a dash, you can use it to attack, you can use it to run away. It's always good. But Power Leap, the jump takes a while to charge, and it's just hard to navigate a little bit. I don't think that's enough to drop it of S tier, but I think it is actually. Like Berserk is more used than Power Leap. Riposte. I have no idea what it is. I have no idea how you pronounce that. It is. I'm pretty sure it's French.
Riposte.
So it is riposte. I got it right. Let's go. I'm the smartest person in the entire planet. So riposte. For every. So no, what it does is that your Iron Strikes, not your Iron Strikes, your heavy blocks. Your heavy blocks give you more focus. And you always want to heavy block, because heavy blocks already give you more focus than regular blocks by default. Well, riposte just increases that already higher amount and makes it even more. To the point where if you have riposte 3, not even enhanced, just regular riposte 3, some weapons get an Iron Strike every block. It's most notably the rapier. The rapier with riposte gives you an Iron Strike every time you block. That is insane. We're going to put that in S tier. The lowest is lowest FS tier because it doesn't really work as well with most weapons. Looming Death is kind of mid, genuinely. So the one thing that I can say about Looming Death is that it goes very well with Deliberate Strike. What it does is that every enemy around you is just always perpetually scared of you. They will gain focus. You will gain focus on them even if you're far away from them. This also stacks with charge, but it's pretty stupid. I wouldn't even use charge on that. Now this is good for scaredy cat builds. You can just run away from the enemy constantly, forever, and you can still get iron strikes on them. But for most builds, you don't want that. You kind of want to just kill them before they kill you, or even hit you in the first place. And Looming Death kind of just doesn't let you do that. I think it's better than Counter-Strike though. I just don't like Counter-Strike at all. Vengeance. If you get hit, you gain 1 Iron Strike on that enemy. This is actually one of the better skills for one-shot builds, because you make Iron Strikes so stupidly slow that you're better off. Sometimes you're better off just letting yourself take damage for extra damage. And actually, I'm gonna make that one of my next videos. But really, for one-shot builds, you kind of want to go like charged, like coup de grace, obviously. And then your last skill, it really depends, but you can actually go vengeance. So honestly, I can probably say B tier, probably higher than deliberate. It's like kind of more useful than deliberate. Okay, follow up. This is broken. After your first Iron Strike, every Iron Strike you hit after that has a 25% chance, I think, of spawning a new one on the same enemy. So obviously this skill sucks ass if you have a weapon with a slow Iron Strike buildup with only 1. Like the only slow weapon that I can see this working on is the Axis. Every other weapon, you're never gonna activate follow up ever. But for the weapons that it does work with, it works so well that I think this is like one of the meta things. Here's the thing though. Meta is only important in Archon run, and like I said, this is a normal run tier list. This is not taking into account Archon runs and endless mode. So it would be an S tier, but I think I'm gonna put it slightly below that. I think A tier, highest of A tier, because it works on only half of the builds you can make. Bounce around is one of the goofiest skills in my opinion. If you hit an Iron Strike on an enemy, it has a chance, it's a pretty high chance, I think it's 50% at max level, to put an Iron Strike on another enemy in a 10-meter radius, 15-meter radius, I think. So the meter radius is already a bad thing. It makes sometimes the enemies, for example, there was a mage and a commander. Those two things really do not like being near each other. So it ends up having you not. It doesn't actually do anything at low levels, but at max level, it is pretty decent. It's not that good though. It's like good for with Berserk kind of, but not on one-shot builds, only on like Berserk quick hit builds. So we're gonna have to put it like way below. Actually, I think I've used Vengeance more than Bounce Around. I think right here. I think that's a good spot. And then coup de grace. No matter what, I think it's less important than charge on normal runs. I know on Archon run, this is the most important skill. You need to have this enhanced in Archon run. All of the enemies reach like hundreds of thousands of health. So, but I think charge might be more important in normal runs. In Archon run, coup de grace is the best skill in the game. But in normal run, you can kind of just one-shot enemies without coup de grace. It's just first impressions is just that good. Anyways, that's almost everything on melee, but the final skills are not agility, fortitude. Okay, so we have all of the skills on defense here. Now here's the issue. You kind of don't need defense at all. So there's a bunch of things you can do with defensive skills, of course, because like, for example, sturdy and metal. Where the fuck is sturdy? Where is sturdy? Alright, so like I was saying, defensive skills are not that important, because like you can do a bunch of things with defense. For example, Invictus and Toughness to make yourself have 3,000 health and you heal it, or sturdy metal to make yourself literally immortal. Deflect, you can have deflect so you can just go AFK like that in my last video that I made as of this video. But here's the thing, you don't really need that. in normal runs. And in this mode, you need it, you're required. Without it, you kind of just lose instantly. But in normal runs, once you max out Tekka, which once you max out Tekka, like right here, you kind of don't need defensive skills. You got 3 lives, you got revives, defensive skills. So technically, they're all D tier. Except for deflect. I could say one thing about deflect. I will never go this unless you're specifically making a deflect type build. But like I showed you in my last video, deflect is kind of busted. If you go all out on deflect, it is pretty good. Alright, next up we have the bows. So let's just grab every single bow thing here. I think there's a bodkin point, I think. So next up we have infusions on bow. Let's set this up real quick. So these are all infusions. So one thing in common of all of these is that they lower your reload time. So you have to be careful when picking these ones. You don't want to lower your reload too much. Okay, we're gonna start off with infusions from the bow. Explosion arrows. So this makes your arrows explode, and they also do a little bit more damage, like 5, 10, and 15. So this is really good for minigun builds because doing 15 more damage per arrow is actually really good. But for heavy weapons, like for example, our ballista, the eagle long, actually all the long bows, maybe the short bows. Yeah, well, explosion doesn't do that much. I will say explosion on sniper builds is pretty nice. You might get occasional double kill with a single bullet, but you wouldn't do it for the damage. We're gonna put this. It's hard to rank these compared to the melee ones. I would say A tier, probably above power leap, because you probably use that more. Ice arrows, we have another D tier here. Actually, I would say that going any defensive skill is probably better than going ice arrows. Ice arrows slow down the enemy whenever you hit them, but the slowdown depends on the amount of damage per arrow that you deal. So, for example, if you deal 1,000 damage with a sniper build, it slows them down a lot. But if you deal a minigun build, then it slows them down for 0.1 seconds. So in both situations, you don't need this, because if you're doing a sniper build, you're killing them before they even reach you in the first place. Especially since you one-shot everything with a sniper build. You don't have time to slow them down, because they die instantly. And if you do a minigun build, that does nothing. The slowdown it doesn't last anything. Poison arrows. Poison arrows is mid. It just does damage over time. A lot of people like to pick poison arrows because they think it's really good. But if it doesn't. Most of your it's just think about it like this. It's good in the early game, but not in the late game. And bow is designed as a glass cannon. You suck in the early game and you die really easily. But in the late game, you kill everything so quickly that nothing matters. Now here's the issue with poison. If you kill everything very quickly, poison has no time to deal its damage. There's no reason to go poisoned. It can do a lot of damage, it could, but you deal so much damage that it just does nothing. So I'm gonna have to put it in C tier, below deflect. Lightning arrows, this is another horrible D tier. It takes, what it does, when you hit an enemy with your arrows, they get thunderstruck or something. They get thunderblight, I guess. And after a few seconds, they get struck by lightning. How many seconds? Well, it's like 4. Anyways, it's like after 4 or 3 seconds, that's a lot of time, you know. Like a lot of time. And how much does it do? Like 100 at most. Yeah, 100 damage is not nearly enough for the bow builds. It's not good at all. You're better off going literally anything else. Burst fire. Jesus Christ, what a broken skill. How broken? It's a hard question, really. I think below Rage Strike. For each upgrade, it makes you shoot one extra arrow. The only problem is that it lowers your total arrow damage. But you shoot so many arrows, each one stacks up so quickly. If you hit all of your arrows, it does more damage than one arrow without burst fire. And burst fire makes almost every build in the game. The only one that it doesn't do is a single heavy shotgun and a sniper build. But the funny thing is that you can modify both of those builds by just adding burst fire. So basically every build in the game, excuse me, basically every skill in the game needs burst fire. It's just that powerful. Which actually I'm gonna put it above Rage Strike and this too, because since actually, you know what, yeah, we're gonna put that right here, because every single bow build would love to have burst fire, while coup de grace, not every build needs coup de grace. Shadow arrows, this is a very underrated skill in my opinion. It's like burst fire, but instead of increasing your shots by 4, it increases by 1. It shoots 1 extra arrow, but that arrow does like 400% damage, which is a lot of extra damage. It also does not. Here's the thing: burst fire, or not burst fire, shadow arrows, they don't get affected by other skills. So if you have extra damage from luck arrows, 50%, the shadow doesn't get affected by that. But that's actually a blessing in disguise, because burst fire lowers the damage of your arrows. So that means that shadow arrows doesn't get lowered by the burst fire's damage reduction. So you actually deal more damage from the shadow arrow than all of your arrows combined, I think. I don't know. It does a lot of damage, I'm telling you that. It's very good skill. Finally, luck arrows. Basically every build wants luck arrows. I wouldn't say it's above the rest of these skills, because you don't need it. Like, most builds could just not go it and it's still fine, but it doesn't matter what build you're going, luck arrows is always good. Not for the auto aim. A lot of people think that luck arrows is only for the auto aim, but no, it's actually for the damage. 50% extra damage at max level, that is a massive amount of extra damage, especially on sniper builds and shotgun builds. So yeah, shadow arrows, not shadow arrows, luck arrows, they are busted. Techniques. This is not blast away. That is full quiver from a really long time ago. Hunter's Mark. For every arrow in a row that hits the same enemy, it increases your damage up to a massive amount. It's 15 times 18, I think. 270%. I think it's 270%. So if you max out Hunter's Mark, you just do so much damage. With minigun, shotgun builds, both of those are love to have this. And here's the thing: burst fire goes perfectly with Hunter's Mark. And since Hunter's Mark is good with burst fire, and burst fire is broken, then just by default, this goes in S tier, above luck arrows. Hit and run. Now, the hit and run, after 4 seconds of hitting an enemy, it increases your damage by a shit ton. Now here's my issue. None of the builds not a single build with this weapon actually could use this skill. Hit and run takes way too long to actually come into effect. The damage it does is insane, but aside from that, it's not that useful. Let me put it like this: in a minigun build, hit and run doesn't work. You hit enemies too quickly for hit and run to come up. For a shotgun build, same thing. You shoot too many arrows for it to come to effect. And if it does come to effect, only one of the maybe 25 arrows that you shoot actually get affected. In a sniper build, again, you kill everything so quickly that hit and run doesn't come into effect. And if an enemy does survive your sniper bullet, you can just shoot it one more time with the weakest shot possible, and they still die instantly because they took so much damage. There's not a single build that I can think of that could actually use hit and run, so we're gonna have to put it in C tier because it has potential, but it's somehow one of the worst skills in the game. Okay, so I know this is not blast away, but we're gonna just pretend this is blast away. If you have max arrows, shoot all of them at once. This obviously depends on your weapon, but it's very powerful. Because if it was just that skill and nothing else, then it would probably be F tier, because you'd get nothing from waiting. You just get a cool looking attack. But it also increases the damage of each arrow by 80 something percent. Like 80 or 120, I think, at max level. That is a massive amount of damage. So in total, you can do a ton of damage. I want to try to do a one-shot on the final boss with this weapon, with this one skill, so I will be doing that in the future. It also goes very, very good with shadow arrows, because this is the one skill that shadow arrows does get affected by. So we're going to put it right above shadow arrows. Bodkin points. So, very similar to armor piercing, you deal more damage to armor, but in this case, instead of a flat damage increase, you deal percentage based. So the more damage your arrow does normally, the more damage Bodkin points does. I really don't know what else to say about it. We're gonna put it in A tier, probably above shadow arrows. Actually, we're gonna put it above that too. Kenai lets you see the trajectory of your arrows before you shoot them, and it also increases the damage. The damage increase, especially in hands, is kind of busted. It's like 150%. Again, it's just another useful skill. There's not much to say about it. It's a must-have on sniper builds. I think it's more useful than rapid fire. Increases your reload speed. That's literally all it does. It's okay. It's honestly just mid. Because like most builds, you kind of just if you just go full on damage instead of comfort, you just insta kill everything. This is a comfort skill. B tier. Long shot. Increases your damage depending on how far away you are from an enemy. This has no limits on how powerful it can get. Theoretically, if you hit an arrow from the other side of the map, you can do infinite damage. Theoretically, but it's just very hard to do that. It's very good on sniper builds. It's very good on rifle builds. And that's about it. That's really all that's good at. I would say it's more useful than Vengeance, but aside from that, it's kind of B tier. Power shot. Excuse me. Again. So, power shot is just okay. I wouldn't say it's incredible. It does increase your damage by a lot. But, again, minigun builds don't use it very well. But it does increase your damage by a lot. It's really good on shotgun builds, sniper builds, rifle builds. Everything but minigun. So, we're gonna increase that. Actually, we're gonna put that above. I'm gonna put it below Berserk. If you held a gun to my head and forced me to tell you what this and this is, I'd die. So this is Sweet Revenge, this is a reflex reload. Okay. Again, just like melee, you don't want to go agility. You're better off just maxing out damage. But in the case of Archer, some agilities are pretty decent. I don't think reflex reload or Sweet Revenge are good at all, because both of them, you kind of have to risk your life for them. I'm pretty sure reflex reload was, if an enemy gets in your range, it instantly reloads an arrow. Yippee, how many builds would actually use that? Minigun build, you have Zukenu, which has 8 arrows. 1 of 8 is nothing. And if you have a sniper build where you use 1 arrow to deal 1,000 damage, you can't trigger the skill. No, it sucks ass. Sweet Revenge, I think it's if you take damage, so if you take damage, your next arrow that hits, I think it was it heals you of the some of the damage you took. Either that or it does extra damage based on how much damage you took. I don't remember, but I've literally never used it, so I'm gonna put it in C tier, so because I have no idea what it would be. Slow fall. This is actually a really good skill. I'm gonna put it in bottom of B tier. It makes you immortal at level 1, meaning that as long as you have one of these, you're fine. That's all you need. Lightfoot increases your jump speed, so you jump farther. You do long jumps, and if you upgrade it, you get double jumps and triple jumps and quad jumps if enhanced. It's really fun, but not exactly practical. Sadly, we're gonna actually. I think it's better than. I'll put it right there. Finally, we're on the final part. We have magic, my favorite. I love magic. Mage is probably my favorite class. Storm magic. Storm magic is busted. Generally overpowered. I'm trying to do this. I need to have a friend to help me with this build, but I'm thinking of doing a final boss one-shot using lightning magic. I've already done it with poison on my without recording, but poison is not as satisfying. Lightning, the first skill is just like a lightning area around you. Does damage. And it also stuns. The second move is what makes this weapon S tier because it's just that powerful. The second move just does so much damage. It's so easy to cast. It's so easy to aim. I have to put in an S tier. It's just an obvious S tier. How much S tier? That's this tier. I think right there. I think that's a good spot. Fire magic. First skill, you just shoot a tiny fireball that has auto aim, kind of mid. And then balefire is like a shotgun in front of you. They're both very easy to cast, but fire magic is just not that good. It does decent damage, but as a mage, you don't want to be super close up. And if you do want to be super close up, there's better things you want aside from fire magic. It's just not worth. It's kind of mid. I think Living Death is worse, so we're gonna put it right there. Forest magic is another S tier. I think it's as much as I love lightning magic, I think forest magic is better. Forest magic has the earthquake spell. It's called Thorn Growth, but I call it the earthquake. It's so broken. It has such a large radius. It does. I think it does more damage than lightning magic as well, and it also goes well with crystallize and crit. So yeah, no, it's an obvious S tier. It's just better. I think it's better than riposte and combo too. It's just the thing. I don't know about quick hit though. Ice magic is a little mid. In this video right here, I said I forgot what rank I gave it. I gave it D tier, which I think is a little bit of a compared to these things. Yeah, no, ice is better than that. But to be fair, that video wasn't taking these into account. I think it is one of the lesser magics, but it definitely isn't like the worst of the worst. So the first move actually does a pretty decent chunk of damage. I didn't notice how much damage it does until I started using it a little bit more often. It does a good chunk of damage. It slows down monsters. I would say it's better than Shadow. Probably not better than Burst. Not Burst. Blast away. Sun magic or light magic. Light magic. The first skill is kind of bad. It doesn't do that much damage. It does very little damage. It takes a while to do its damage, but it's very easy to cast and also very easy to aim. So I'll give it that. The second move, it does a lot of damage, but I think it's just a worse version of lightning. The fact that you have to aim it so you can hit multiple targets is actually more of a bad thing, because it means that you spend more time aiming it than you actually spend casting it and using it. So I'm gonna actually put that probably below most of these things. I think long shot might be better. Flaming Vengeance, not Deliberate Strike though. Alchemical Magic is a massive underrated skill. I'm gonna put it under S tier. It's not that, I will admit, it's not the best for normal runs until like super late game. But this is, if you want to kill the final boss with a single skill, like a single damaging skill, put Shadow Magic Vulnerability on the boss, and then rust them, and then put Poison, and then that's it, you win. This move does so much damage, it's actually insane. It does 2,000 at base, 3,000 at enhanced. And if you multiply each tick by 100, which is double the damage, yeah, you could imagine that kills everything. No matter how much health you have, you will die to poison magic if you have vulnerability. You win. The first skill is also kind of okay. It's not the best for early game, but for late game, it is pretty good. And finally, Star Magic. I will say, over here, I was saying D tier. I will say, this is the first part where I say you need to have perfect aim for it to be good. That's obvious. This is actually one of the hardest skills to use, but it absolutely is not only good in one build. It's good in 2 builds. Massive difference, I know. But the first skill, like I said, you have to aim it perfectly. The second skill, like I said, you have to aim it perfectly. If not, you cannot just miss out on all of your damage. I've had more times where I've hit all my shots than missed them, but again, I'm a very good mage. Like, I really don't like to glaze myself, but I can't lie. I'm a crazy mage. Having to aim every single bullet kind of makes it harder to use, but I've made actually a ton of builds using Star Magic, so I can't really say that this weapon is D or this spell is D tier with how much I've done with it. It's better than Light, of course, because Light sucks. I can't believe I'm saying Light Magic is the worst of all the attack magics. That's actually crazy. I'm actually surprised I'm saying that. I'll put it high A tier. Oh, what a massive change in opinion I've had. Went from D tier to A tier, but recently I've been using a lot of AoE builds, and it's either Star Magic or Light Magic, and I'm not using Light Magic, so I'm using Star Magic. Oh, Rock Magic. I almost forgot about this. This is the actual worst attack magic. I completely forgot about Fire Magic. I think it's like right below it. The first skill does a lot of damage, but it's annoying to aim. And then the second skill, again, it does a lot of damage, but it's annoying to aim. The damage isn't extraordinary though. Like most other spells are better, so it's kind of mid. All right, now we can have enchantments. Shadow Magic. I think this is by far one of the best skills in the entire game. The first skill is invisibility. Actually, no, that's the second skill, but I'll pretend it's the first skill. Invisibility. You can only make yourself invisible, but that's kind of a good thing. You're a mage. You don't want to have enemies on you. Invisibility just is perfect. Vulnerability. You select an enemy, and that enemy takes a shit ton of damage. It takes, I think, triple damage if you have the skill enhanced. If you want to one-shot a boss, you need to have vulnerability, which is from Shadow Magic. So yeah, this is broken. We're gonna actually do Iron Magic next because it's very similar. Iron Magic is literally just, again, another S tier magic. If you are playing endless mode, you need to have Iron Magic, or else you die. But again, this is not an endless mode tier list, so we're not going to actually count that. Iron Magic, the first skill is Rust. It's literally the same as vulnerability, but on armored enemies. It works. It does more damage to armored enemies than vulnerability does. But of course, again, armored enemies are less common. And then the other skill is Iron Skin. You make whoever you target with Iron Skin becomes immortal to melee attacks for up to 8 hits. I think it's 8. which is insane. As long as you have iron magic, it doesn't matter what happens. You kind of just survive forever. Yay, Mungo! I got a fucking frog. Wait, hold up a second. I need to put that on right now. Where's the frog? Oh my god, my cat has a frog on his head. Wind magic. We'll do wind magic next. In normal runs, okay, like in endless mode, this is like a mandatory. You need to have this no matter what in endless mode. But this is not endless mode, like I said. Wind magic is kind of mid in normal runs. You get haste and missile shield. Missile shield, every class except for range doesn't care about projectiles. Like you, as a mage yourself, you can block the projectiles. As a melee, you can even turn that projectile into a free damage. And then archers, if you're getting hit by projectiles, you're doing something wrong with an archer. Like, you're so far away, how are you getting hit by projectiles, you idiot? And then haste is just only good for melees. You don't need that, ever. Like, archers, you could probably use haste on a sniper user, so they can run away further, but you kind of don't need that. Is it better than this? I think... yeah, I don't know. I think it's C tier, honestly. It's definitely better than those two. I think Looming Death is better, not Counter-Strike, though. Crystal Magic. So this is absolutely an S tier. I think it's, not an S tier, an A tier. It isn't going to be something super broken, but it's almost at broken. Crystallize makes it so every time you hit an enemy, they take a little bit of extra damage. This is really good for multi-hit, things, like Star Magic, minigun builds, Quarterstaffs, especially Quarterstaff, oh my god. You deal 200 damage for Ironstrike, and then you get an extra 15 on that. That's crazy. I think it's actually 25 at max level, I'm not sure. Then you have Clarity. No matter who you hit Clarity on, it always helps. On mages, they use more spells. On archers, they shoot more arrows, and on melees, they just do more damage in general. Because of the way Ironstrikes build up faster. So yeah, no, this is just a good magic. Every time you get Crystal Magic, you kind of just help the entire team. And now we have the 3 worst magics in the game. And actually, I think it's the 3 worst skills in the entire game in general. Mirror Magic, I'll give you a little bit of slack. The teleport is super useful in some cases. How much useful? I can't say it's better than Sturdy Metal. I can't say it's better than Phantom Dodge, I think it was called. It's not better than Stagger, it's not better than Cow Drops. It's not better than Phantom Block. I think it's better than Invictus. That's absolutely. The first skill is Feedback. I think it's probably the worst attack-based magic in the game. If you block an enemy, or if they hit you, they take damage. Yippee! You want to take damage? Go ahead. Go ahead and take damage on purpose to deal 15 damage per 100 damage you take. It's not worth it. Then the teleport, very easy to cast, goes very far, low cooldown. It's okay. But now we have these 2 trash. It is so bad that I am making a new tier, which I'm making it black, and I'm just not even gonna put a name on it. It doesn't deserve existence. Life Magic and Divine Magic. These 2 skills are so overused, and yet they are the worst skills in the game. Because y'all don't know how to read. You don't read what you pick. Some kids, so many of you, select Life Magic, heal yourself, but you don't heal because you didn't read what the skill does. And then you're like, why am I not getting healed? This game is glitchy. Read what it does. Actually, if I go into the reviews of this game, one of the reviews, the guy was saying that Life Magic was broken and it doesn't work. My brother in Christ, look at what you're picking. Read the skill. And since you guys don't know how to read, let me read it for you. Here we are. Healing Magic. Let's go into full screen here. Heal. Undo 150 of the damage that the target player has taken within the last 15 seconds. If you don't know what that means, which you probably don't because you don't know how to read, idiot, healing magic only works on a person that took damage 15 seconds ago. So if 15 seconds pass before you if 15 seconds pass before you heal them, it doesn't work. If you don't know what 15 seconds is, it is shorter than your brain rot TikToks that you watch, you idiot. And 150? You know how much HP 150 is? Yeah, sure, this is level 1 of life magic. 150 is a single hit in most cases. It sucks ass. It's so bad. Don't use it. And then transfusions, sacrifice up to 150 of your own health and give it to somebody else. Yippee! So good. So incredible. Incredible. Nice. Yippee. Would you need to do that? Why don't... If you want to support somebody, give them iron skin. That way so they don't take damage. And now you have your full health and they also have their full health. And lastly, we have Divine Magic. Divine Magic is by far the worst skill in the entire game. Because at the very least, Healing Magic can do something. Like, you could maybe heal a little bit of health off of somebody, and maybe that is the last bit of health that clutches up. Divine Magic does nothing. Levitation. You levitate. Woohoo, you're still vulnerable to projectiles, by the way. Iron Skin, already makes you immortal to melee, so that's already the same thing. But you know what else you can do? Haste on wind magic, which is 2 tiers above this. Haste is so good. It's literally just divine magic but better. It's so much better. And finally, Soul Link. Every time somebody gives me Soul Link, I am offended because Soul Link is just bad. Many cases I have taken damage on purpose because somebody gives me Soul Link. Soul Link is just that bad. If you as the mage, you give somebody Soul Link, they will take less damage, but you take some of that damage. Spirit Link blocks 40% of all damage to the target ally and redirects half of the rest to you. So you take a little bit less damage than they would have taken, sure, but guess what? That doesn't matter because you can give them Iron Skin instead. It's just that much better. Oh, and Luck Magic. I forgot about Luck Magic. Luck Magic is actually pretty decent. We're gonna put that right below Crystal. The first skill, Jinx, makes the enemy take less damage, or do less damage. He does less damage to you. Then the other skill, Critical Hit, is called Fortune. 15% chance to deal 300% damage. 300% is a crap ton of damage, so yeah. And finally, we're gonna blast through all of these mana ones as quick as possible. Soul Reaper S tier. We're going to put that right below here. For every enemy that dies near you, you get a bunch of mana, up to 70 per kill. Arcane Thrift, C tier. Right there. Probably worse than Counter-Strike. It's only good in some cases. All skills cost less mana, but it's not that much mana, so it's not that useful. Spirit Siphon, I think it was called. All enemies in a radius give you mana. That's kind of it's not the best, but it's decent. Concentration. I'm going to put this in D tier because you don't need it. Moving, your mana regen is faster while moving, but only if you're level 3 because of still now. If you don't know, standing still gives you all your mana regen faster, but moving halves your mana regen. Concentration, all it does is makes it so you do your halved. Concentration, all it does is so if you are moving, that 50% mana regen now goes to 75, and then it goes up to like a 90 and then 110. So at best, you're regenerating your mana 10% faster. Mana reserve is actually quite powerful. I wouldn't say S tier. I wouldn't say S tier because it does only work Yes, actually, never mind. Fuck you. I'm putting it in S tier. You start with more mana. It's just nice to have more mana, so you can use all of your enchantments instantly while still having mana left. Crystal Focus. It's just better. This is one of the best mana skills in the game. Not taking damage makes you get more mana. It's that simple. You're a mage. You shouldn't be taking damage. And finally, wasn't this Spirit Siphon? For each enemy that you hit, you get more mana until they die. If they die, you don't get that mana regen, which is kind of bad. So we're putting it right down here. Anyways, that is the tier list. Every skill ranked for normal runs, specifically normal runs. Okay. Yeah. So this is a. Don't go saying, oh, but this skill is good in endless mode. Well, loser, I was not talking about endless mode. So don't go saying that. Anyways, this is a very long video, and this is gonna take a really long time to yeah, it's over an hour long. It's gonna take a long time to edit this the way I want to. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.